One of the biggest mistakes we make in life is thinking we have more time. And that's Kobe Bryant's quote. That's Kobe Bryant's quote. And I'm sure many people have various quotes of that, or versions of that. But eventually, one day, we run out of time. So we think we have all this time ahead of us, and we'll get to this, we'll get to that, if this happens, if that happens. And one day, time will happen. Father Time moves us forward. Guys, I'm 50 years old. I just turned 50 about a month ago. Less than a month ago. And I'm a thriving Gen Xer. You can take a look at a lot of my videos. I do a lot of walking and talking when the weather cools down in Las Vegas, Nevada. And right now, it's just the perfect temperature for me to get out, and I've already had my dinner. My habits are dialed in. I don't live in the when I get there, if and when. The time is now. I take massive action, whether it's uncomfortable, painful, and I don't feel like doing it. There's a reason. Honestly, I'm not bragging, but there's a reason. I look a certain way. I've taken care of myself, and I wasn't always like this, but the way to win in life and take it by the horn is massive action, even when you don't feel like doing it. And most times we are waiting for that perfect moment, right? And looking for excuses to not execute your dreams, your vision, whatever your goals are, because you just don't think you're worthy enough, or you just are lazy, you don't have the motivation to do so. When you get to this age, you start realizing what's really important in your life, and you start really tuning out and eliminating a lot of the things that kind of get in your own way. And a lot of times it's you getting in your own way. It's not the other person. It's not a situation per se. And your partner, your girlfriend, your boyfriend cannot keep you happy. It's not their responsibility. It's your job to keep yourself happy and this intact. And as you get older, you start realizing how important that mental peace, that inner peace is to you, and you start making those choices that align you to the life you want to live. I'm open about my thoughts on marriage, and then marriage and the communion and that whole, institution. I think it's a bit whack, and it's not the end all be all for me personally, and that's not the key to my personal happiness. That's just me. Now, where am I going with this video? We are already way over midway now, right, in 2025. A lot of us had set out January of this year aspiring to become in the best shape of our lives. We had all these fitness goals, right? Year in, year out, comes and goes, and we're all sort of just half-assing our journey as such, right? So this is not a check-in video. This is a reality check kind of a video as to how quickly time flies. And so maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago, you were in this cycle, right, of getting into your shape, getting into the best shape, getting rid of the alcohol, tuning into a more healthy sleeping habit, right? Eliminating or cutting off certain people, most people, from your life that no longer serve you. Recognizing that you've outgrown certain spaces, people, certain energies that no longer serve you, but rather keep you down and sort of keep you stagnant from growing and making you move, right? And you got to ask yourself, if you don't think for yourself and try to execute based on your intuition and try to align your mind and body and spirit and listen to what it's trying to tell you, the chances are you're probably going to remain stuck for a while. And there are a lot of people in life that cannot break out of that spell, right? They remain stuck forever. Consider yourself blessed if you have figured out that there's something wrong with the picture and you are in a vicious cycle of negativity, of people that actually hold you back, even family, right? There certain traditions and certain values that kind of keep you stuck. And you have to separate from these energies to find your own path. And a lot of times this path can be a very lonely path because it liberates you. We oftentimes are very codependent on other people for our happiness. We look at other people as pillars and staples and mentors, and there's nothing wrong with even having mentors. But at some point, remember, they are people too. They can only hold your hand and take you so far. But at some point, you're gonna have to go through that wall. We all get there, guys. And I thought I would never reach that point where I would become the master. There's a student. There's a famous quotation in martial arts, right? That the student becomes a teacher. It's really true. You will become the master of your life if you start doing the more difficult things. The things you don't feel like doing, that is where the beauty and the secret to unlock all of this lies. What do I mean by that? Waking up at 4:35, 5:30, for me now has become such a routine because of the new corporate job. And this morning I was up at 5:30. I did about 3 miles, a little under 3 miles of just walking like this in my complex, incline, decline, flat line. But prior to that, I had done weight training, right? So this pump and everything that I have right now is from earlier this morning, right? So I've already put in the work. I've already put in the reps. You'd be amazed that when you start your mornings and your day early, how much of that you can win. And I did a video last week about how you can win your weekends. So a lot of us, we know different than the next person, but what differentiates us is the mindset, right? We all have 24 hours in the day. Now, the goal is to find the extra hour or two where you could actually be better, and as a result, do better and improve your productivity as a result, right? So right now, we are heading straight on into October, guys, which is fourth quarter. And when fourth quarter hits, right? When fourth quarter hits, I feel like a lot of people let go. Like they don't find the extra gear that shifts and propels them into a space for Q1 where you get a head start. You get a head start off of the general population who don't think this way. A lot of people wait till January, February to start their journey, right? But that's not how you approach it. Fourth quarter time is go time. So in this regard, you got to think and ask yourself, where are you with your journey, man? Where are you with all your bad habits? Where do you stand right now with all your vices? Because we keep saying next year, next year, next year, and I'll get there. I have more time. I have more time. But the reality is we're all getting older every single day, right? I didn't think I would be here, like meaning that I would live to tell this story. Like when the big 5-0 hits, you know, I'm somehow magically just won't be a 5-0. I'm probably going to be 30 forever. Like these are thoughts that it messed with me for a little while, you know, until you start realizing that I've prepared my whole life almost unknowingly for these moments, right? If I was obese, if I wasn't lean, if I wasn't in shape, I wouldn't be attracting the type of women I attract in my life, casually speaking, right? And people notice you when you're out and about at work. You know, people will know when you enter the room that, hey, this guy is put together and he takes care of business. You know, you get that not only self-respect, but people respect you because they know that looking a certain way, but also most importantly, how you feel, they kind of go hand in hand. But what you have to find your why. Like, why do you want to do this? And I can tell you my why. tremendously enhanced my life. And what people don't realize is what got you from ages, let's just say, what got you through 25, that doesn't mean that for the next 25 years, those same habits are going to get you through the rest of your life. See, I would be even more depressed if I got to this stage and I wasn't in shape and I hadn't taken care of myself. I'm dating 20-something-year-old girls, right? If they didn't like what they saw, they wouldn't choose, right? They wouldn't give me the choosing signals. I document, there's a playlist that I talk about dating and relationships, which is all transparent on my channel. So nothing to hide there. And it's not like you plan for these things. This is just the vibe, the chemistry. It just aligns you with what's meant for you in that sense. And if you're true to yourself, if you stay disciplined enough and you take action, right? Especially when you don't feel like it, that's where the magic is. That's where you set yourself free, guys. That's how you win every year, every quarter. 1 foot in front of the other. 1 foot in front of the other. Stop looking at that final figure, like the final product. Like right now, I am a final product. I'm also competition for a lot of men out there. And a lot of people don't guess my age right off the bat. And I try to keep it as quiet as I can until I can, because this is public information and people will eventually find out, especially the closest ones in my sphere, my radius here in Vegas. And I'm okay with it. Like, there's a shock factor they go through, and then seeing how they react, that's like the best. I just stay quiet, and they tell me, they say, "You're lying, dude. There's no way you're 50. There's no way you're..." And after a while, I'm like, "Yeah, I'll give you a few days to absorb it before I keep reinforcing it that nothing has changed. I'm actually older today." So I'm being sort of sarcastic there, but these are good problems to have, guys. So even as morbid as this sounds, one day you're not gonna wake up. And I have seen my heroes like Kobe Bryant, one of the most towering and iconic figures in basketball history, MJ 2.0, right? He was the closest to get there as far as every move, if not maybe slightly athletically more gifted than Michael Jordan. But he was not a better shooter than Michael Jordan. He was just a little bit more athletically inclined. I think MJ just had more hops, just a little bit more hops than Kobe. But they were both lethal. But he was the type of guy that we thought he would just come out of the ashes when the chopper crashed, right? And somehow make us believe that he conquered this too. But one day there is no tomorrow. One day there is no tomorrow. Apollo Creed in Rocky, right? Famous line. There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow, guys. The only thing we have is now. This very moment, this present. And I'm telling you, man, health is the greatest gift that life. If you have your health, that's your greatest wealth, because even I'm realizing that with all the good fortunes and things that I've got going on in my life, if my health was, whack, I've had some health scares this year, and I've talked about it on my channel, but if your health is out of whack, no matter how much money you have, it can definitely buy some time and maybe even expensive treatments and in medicine and procedures, right, that can either resolve, fix, or buy you more time, or have a temporary backfill to the problem as a solution. But most times, when you lose your health mentally, it's just hard to keep it together. So, the time is now. It's not going to change. You're not going to change overnight, but this is 1 foot in front of the other, day by day, right? Small steps. And it's not so much about the training and the working out and the lifting, because anyone can go to the gym and spend 45 minutes, 30 minutes lifting, and then 30 minutes, 45 minutes on the treadmill, and then negating it with just horrible habits of eating horribly, right? And to what avail, right? You have done no good. Like, so I say that if you haven't dialed in your nutrition, your sleep, right, stress, and yes, a gallon of water every single day, because that right there is your golden ticket to getting good skin, detoxing, and keeping yourself fuller and not overeating. I mean, these are facts, guys. I'm living proof that this works. Okay, start with the basics, and the training becomes easy. Even intermittent fasting, like I've done prolonged levels of intermittent fasting throughout my life, and those are anti-aging benefits as well in that lifestyle. I've done the carnivore diet as well. Got a lot of benefits combining the carnivore diet with intermittent fasting. So all of this is on my channel. Take a look at what resonates with you. And just remember, once again, guys, there is no tomorrow. Okay? There is no tomorrow. With that being said, on to the next video. Mamba out.